All right, Scott. Two more events in the books. Let's work our way backwards. Let's start with tonight. Main event. You got a new champion in the bantamweight division. What did you think of the fight? And as a promoter, how excited are you to promote a champ like Juan Archuleta now?
I mean, one's a special athlete, and you could just see the heart and the desire of both athletes tonight. And I knew it was going to be a war. We had some debates as to internally who we thought might win, but I'm happy for him because he's been with us quite a while. He has earned his stripes up the ranks, and when he decided to drop down to 35, we wanted to put this fight together, and I'm glad we did because it was spectacular.
In the co-main event, Neiman Gracie looked pretty good. John Fitch retiring on the other side. So can you maybe talk about where you think Neiman fits into the division at this point?
I mean, listen, Neiman's right up there, and I know he hasn't fought Lima. Lima's going to be a little bit busy, for the next, couple months, let's say. But at some point, we'll probably put that fight together. But Neiman Gracie is no joke, man. This guy is dangerous, and if he gets you on the ground, even stand up, his striking is getting better and better. And so when I think about Neiman, I think about a complete MMA fighter, not just a grappler.
In the other half of the co-main event, John Fitch announcing his retirement. Did you think that was the appropriate call, or did you think that he, could have kept going as a top contender for you guys?
Listen, John Fitch has not lost in 6 years. I mean, the guy is a beast still, and he's a grinder, like McCarthy said. But it caught me off guard. I didn't know. I didn't know that he was at that point in his career where he felt that it was time to step down. One of the things that, like you and I, we don't know is what the body feels like and how it takes the preparation. Does it take him longer? Is it is it painful to get to that point where he could get ready? And maybe he just said, look, that's enough. My body's been through hell for the last so many years, so he's ready to just step down. And I think that he loves MMA, and I think he'll be involved somehow. But I can't answer because I don't really know what he felt like. But it was obviously time, and it was like I said, a little bit. It was a good moment because everybody gave him a standing ovation, and he lifted his gloves in the cage. But you got to give your hats off to him, man. He's done everything that you can in this sport, and he's done it all, man. So I wish him luck.
And last night's main event between Phil Davis and Machida. Do you think you have a new number one contender at 205 pounds? Are you willing to say that?
I'll tell you. I think Phil did what he needed to do, and those two fought before, and it was very close. So let's go back and take a look at the film one more time. But I think Phil's right up there. So we have a couple matchups in mind. That will kind of lead to the belt. But I think Phil looked great. He did a good job.
Tonight also marked the end of the Paramount Network era. So can you kind of sum up that chapter for Bellator and yourself?
I'll tell you, it's when I think about Paramount, being formerly Spike TV. I mean, really, it was the genesis of modern day mixed martial arts, and the popularity boomed because they chose to greenlight a reality show that made mixed martial arts popular and became very famous. And to me, if Viacom and the Spike TV didn't do it at that time, who knows if we would be here right now, right? So I got to give my hats off to Viacom and Paramount. They have always been supporting mixed martial arts since 2005, and so Bellator had a great partner in Paramount, and I want to thank them for all their contribution and the the basically the support for Bellator to get to this point. But now that the merger happened, and that's one of the beauty of this company is that when you look at the platforms available for Bellator now, it's I think that it could end up being a multi-platform product like it is now. I mean, we have a channel on Pluto TV that's doing amazing numbers, by the way, and we're on CBS Sports Network already with the Recharge show. Now we're going to come over and do some fights on CBS Sports Network, but the undercards will all air on CBSSports.com. So I think we're going to bring a whole new sports audience in, and that's one of the beauties of this deal.
back to Phil Davis, yesterday he mentioned that if Vadim isn't ready, he's not willing to wait forever for a title fight. So his theory was, well, if it's not Vadim, it's Corianis. If it's Vadim, I'll get Corianis later. Is the likeliness either going to be a title fight for Phil, or it's going to be him welcoming Corianis into Bellator?
I mean, that's definitely a possibility. I got I haven't really talked to my guys about it, but I think that's definitely a possibility. And with Nemkov, we haven't really spoken since he departed to Russia, but we're definitely going to reach out and ask him when he'll be ready to go again, because we'd like him to fight soon, because he had a great performance against Bader, and I think that you saw a star being born, here at the Mohegan Sun on that night.
Back to the idea also of future title fights, is it seems like Pettis is the obvious guy next for Juan. Is that not even an if but a when? And also Liz Carmouche gets her win today. McFarland doesn't seem to have a clear favorite for a contender. Is a Liz Carmouche McFarland friends battle? Is it another not if but when fight?
Well, I tell you, Pettis is definitely something that we're talking about to fight Juan next. But at some point, you know what? Even in the near future, I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch of this fight. This fight to me was a great fight, and I think that Mix deserves it at some point. But in the meantime, I think that maybe him and Pettis should get it on. As far as Liz Carmouche, I understand that her and Alima are not training at the same gym anymore, so they split gyms. And I think that they realize they're going to fight each other at some point. So whether it happens now or happens in the tournament, or if we have the tournament at 125, then I think that they will see each other at some point.
Early in the show, another fight ends on an illegal strike strike that ends the fight. That happened twice last night with 2 groin strikes. When that happened in the beginning of the show, was it a moment like, oh God, not again?
I tell you, as a promoter, of course, you want to see clean, great matchups. Like I think our televised portion of tonight's card was great, and some of the undercard fights were great. But it's like the the undercard fights are there to provide an opportunity for the young guys to get experience, right? So I just think that was a lack of experience and getting kind of adrenalized and in the moment kind of shot. I don't think it was intentional, but you know what? I can honestly say, yes, I did take a second breath here on that one, because I was like, oh my gosh, here we go again, right? It was, that last night was something that, as a promoter, you don't like to see fights end in illegal blows, but, we just had a weird night last night. But I think we came back strong today, and I think you saw some great fights today.
Regarding the heavyweight division, I'm curious to know: are you considering the Czech Congo Johnson fight to be maybe a number 1 contenders fight for Ryan Bader's title?
I'll tell you, I think that that's something that I always like to reserve judgment, because I like the fight to happen and then see how they look. But whoever wins that fight, if they have a great performance, I think that's the case.
And also, Juan Archuleta seems to really want a show in Spain. Is that something that you're going to look towards to do, an MMA show in Spain?
I'll tell you, I don't think he's going to want to wait that long for us to figure out how to get to Spain with all the travel bans and all the European restrictions. I mean, it was difficult for enough to, get to Italy and Paris, to do these events. So Spain would be a whole new set of challenges, I think. But as you guys know, it's a very interesting time in the history of the world, actually, with COVID hitting and just the pandemic. It's not back to normal. And when it does get back to normal and we can travel and there's no restrictions, we would love to go to Spain and do a fight with Juan. But I think that's going to be a ways out. He's going to want to fight 1 or 2 times in between then, in my opinion. So, him fighting Horiguchi, because Horiguchi trains and lives in LA, that's something that, we would be interested in if he was available. I know that because he is a Japanese citizen, he could go back to Japan and fight on New Year's Eve or fight for Sakakibara when he needs to. But if he is available, I think we would love to put that fight together.
I will take just a couple more from Zoom here. Jay?
Thanks very much. And Scott, on the topic of Liz Carmouche, she did say that her and Elimale were willing to fight each other. They talked about it for a while. In a hypothetical flyweight Grand Prix, then, do you see Alima as defending her title throughout that tournament, similar to featherweight and welterweight?
Yes, I think that the process will be the same. and that the champion will continue to be the champion until they lose. So that's going to be consistent with our tournaments, and I don't think this will be any different.
Okay, you kind of touched on the other one, but in terms of Fedor, is the plan still 3 fights for him, or has anything changed with his status?
Well, Fedor has 2 fights left, and both of them will most likely be out of the country. I say that with reserve because you guys know the situation is hard to navigate around, and every time we try to go outside somewhere, it's challenging. But I think Fedor, the plan was to do the 3 fights. We hit Japan on New Year's Eve last year, or the day before New Year's Eve, and then we want him to fight in Europe at some point, and then we want him to fight in Moscow to be his retirement fight, and that's kind of the plan for him. But we have 2 fights left, and we'll figure it out. But it's going to be sometime in 21.
Thank you.
Hi, Scott. You just brought up about Fedor. Has he ever just talked to, or have you had discussions on possible opponents? I guess Brock Lesnar is a name that's out there that a lot of fans have been speculating about. Is there interest from Fedor about making that fight happen?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the Brock Lesnar situation, really, it's we threw it out to him through his people that we were interested in a Fedor fight. If he's interested, please let us know. Again, I don't even know if he's under contract, and we made it very clear, if you're not in contract and you want to fight Fedor, then please let us know. I'm not sure if he really wants to fight or not fight. I mean, but if he does want to fight, we'll definitely put it on. If he's a free agent, him and Fedor would be a great fight. Maybe that's something we could do in Moscow.
And final one for me, Ryan Bader losing the light heavyweight title, but he still has a heavyweight title. Have you heard anything on how soon he can get back into the cage?
I'll tell you, we reached out to him today, actually, and through his management, and he said Ryan's out hunting, and he won't be back for a while. So give me a call sometime in a couple weeks. So I'll let you know in a couple weeks.
Thanks, Scott.
All right, last question, John.
Hi, Scott. I wanted to ask you about Chris Cyborg. I know you announced on the broadcast today that she has a fight coming up in October. A little bit of a surprise. Everybody thought that she'd be fighting either rematch with Julia Budd or maybe with Kat Zingano getting a win last night. Just can you touch a little bit about how you kind of came up with that matchup? And then are we going to see maybe a Julia Budd and Kat Zingano fight in the future here?
Yeah, I mean, the matchups for Kat and Julia, we have not put opponents, up for them yet. So that's something that we're still in discussion. But, listen, Arlene is no joke. I mean, she's heavy-handed. She wants this fight. And, it's something that Cyborg welcomes, because Cyborg will fight anybody, and so we feel like this will be a great fight. So to me, we put this fight together. And then, as we move forward, listen, Cyborg will fight Julia Budd again, because Julia keeps asking to fight her as well. So we got some great fights ahead for Cyborg. And as far as Kat Zingano, look, she fought last night for the first time in 2 years. And to me, she still looked athletic. She still looked fast. She could do her thing. But, I think she needs a couple fights, and then, then she could end up fighting Cyborg if she continues to win.
Dan?
Hey, Scott. Great night tonight. I know that we were talking about the heavyweights before. Someone that was recently brought up not too long ago was Jake Hager. And I know that in AEW, he keeps on bringing up Bellator, and the announcers bring them up. Is there any plan for him moving forward? I know that traveling-wise and mixing sports-wise, it might be difficult due to COVID-19, but do you have a timeline?
Oh, you know what? Actually, we don't, but I'd like to see him back as soon as possible, because, one thing when we're having Bobby Lashley fight or Hager fight, it's like, they have great skills, and they're making the transition to becoming mixed martial artists. And, Hager is somebody that I feel like if he could just get enough fights and get enough reps in, he could go, and, I think he could, sky would be the limit. So to me, as soon as he wants to come back, we'll do it. But there's nothing set right now.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, guys.